We're now going to show you in this video how to use the group measure function in QSPlus. It's on the bill production tab of the ribbon and in the measure drawings group, and we click OK. So we have one there, so we're going to create a new one by pressing the new blank record, and we're going to say we're going to measure this square meters, and it's going to be a 100 millimeter serve bed with 250 filling, DPM enforcing mesh. Okay, and we'll always put that in foundations, and we're now going to select items for that. So we open the library and we go to concrete and reinforced concrete 15 MPa 19 stone in surface beds on waterproofing. Save that to the group. Right, so there we have that in the group. Now we look for another item, and it's going to be the reinforcement, fabric reinforcement, and we're going to have, let's say, the 194, and we save that to the group. And we click hide, you'll see that's gone into the group, and then we're going to go back to the library and we're going to say we want to put the waterproofing walls and floors, and that will be the 250 micron under surface beds. Save to group, hide, and there it is. You'll always see when you click here, it'll tell you the details of the group, heading and subheading, etc., and trade. So we have that, and what else do we have to make? We have to have the DPM and the filling, so we need to go and put in some filling, which means we have to go back to the earthworks, where's the filling that I want? Under floors, safety group, hide. Right, so we are going to measure the square meters, but a lot of these things have units of measure other than that, which is the filling. So we must put here a variable name. We'll call it fill, and we'll say that's 0.25, and the surface bed, which is 0.1, and the rest of them are square meters, so they will be 1 times 1. They'll all be in square meters. So now we go here, we put the formula in here, and we say fill, and the result is 0.25, and you may put a reference in here if you so choose. to let you know what you did, or a note to yourself. And the surface bed will be SB. Now the reason we do this with group variables is that we might want to use this. Our next item might be a 125 surface bed with 500 filling, and you don't want to have to do all this again. So all you do is you will duplicate this item, and I'll show you how to do that. You'll duplicate this item and change the variables to get a different answer. Okay, so then we are going to measure this group. So we go click to measure, and let's go to our drawing, and there's a 10 by 10 and 5 by 2 and 5 by 10. Okay, so that will be the area of the surface bed that we're dealing with here. We click that, and we've got that in there. And now to see this, we'll close this, and we'll open the build data sheet, and you'll see that there's our filling that we measured. And we'll go back and measure those trenches because we haven't measured them yet. And if we go to concrete, there is our surface bed that we measured, and the fabric reinforcement is all there. Okay, so if we go back to group measure, and this was A1 that I said, which is a foundation. So we're going to put the width of the foundation is 0.75, and the thickness of the footing is 0.25. And what else we got? We got one brick wall, which is 0.9. And then we're going to have excavation depth, which is going to be 1 meter. Okay, so we've declared those, and now we're going into here. We've got a cubic measurement. We are measuring linear, so we need to have 2 extra dimensions there, which will the trench excavation for the trench will be wood times excavation. So it will be 0.75. Strip footings are cubic meters, and the strip footing will be width of the footing times thickness of the footing. And again, you can see I can use this now for another size footing without recreating everything, and they'll be the same items that I have. Okay, the brickwork is square meters. Now that also has to have a qualifier, so it is BK for the brick height, and this one we'll have here as call it wall, and the wall is 0.23. So this one here for the waterproofing will be wall, and now we have all of those. So once those are done, we close this, and we'll see now that the I did not measure it, sorry. Okay, now we have to measure the group, and I go to the drawings, and I'll see there's a 10 meter wall, a 5 meter wall, 2.5 meter wall, a 15 meter wall, etc. as you go on, and you say okay. And now the quantity is 3250, and you'll see now that there are quantities of strip footings. The earthworks, the trenches are in, and the masonry is measured 29 meters, square meters, and there is waterproofing in wall 7 square meters. So as you can see, the group measure speeds up your measurement once you've linked all these items. And you can now say, okay, this category is foundations, and you can add it to the library. And when now you want to use this again, so you duplicate the group, and this one will be a 1 meter by 0.5, and it'll be 1.5 deep, and it's got 1.5 brick wall. Let's say it's higher, it's 1.1 high. Okay, so it's got all the same items, won't have the 1 brick wall, so you can delete that. Say okay, and now we have this one here, which is our third one, and the width of this now is 1. The thickness is 0.5, the brick is 1.1, the excavation is 1.5, and the wall width is 1.5, which is 0.33. Okay, and what we are missing here is the wall itself, so we go and we go back to the masonry, and we go to the same brickwork and foundations, and there, and we have that, and we go to 1.5 brick wall. There it is, save to the group, hide, and the 1.5 brick wall height is BK. So now you have measured all of these by simply using a previous item. Okay, if you go to a new item and you want to measure square meters, and you want to go to the group, to the library, okay, this one is number, and you have all of these here, and the items from the previous, from the library, and you can change any of these. That's the width of the door, the height of the door, and the door width, and that's the opening and the door width, and all of these items are here, and you can then change them and then measure the group. There are 10 doors, and if you go now to the build data sheet and you go to this paint on the doors, there are all the doors, the frames, and hopefully a bit of ironmongery. Yeah, that's all of that measured from that one group. So as you can see, the group is a very good method of speeding up your measurement. All right, thanks. That's the end of that.